Hello, good evening, and welcome to Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu, and this definitely is the last of this program for 2018. It's been a long, long year, but hey, we thank God we're here. We started in the year in January, and we are now in December, and it's been the grace of God that has brought us thus far. And so we have the full assurance that the same God that has brought us this far will see us through to the end of the year and into the new year. Last week we started looking at New Year resolutions. New Year resolutions. And so we looked at some of the issues with New Year resolutions. Why it worked, why it won't work, it does not work, why a lot of people get frustrated halfway through the year, or even by the end of January you're wondering, where is it gone, why can't I keep up with it? So we looked at some of the reasons why it fails. But poignant point that we made last week was the fact that New Year resolution, as good as it sounds, ultimately all it does is point you to the issues in your life, the weaknesses that you notice, the places where you are not meeting up with yourself, or the standard that you set for yourself, which is good in one regard. The only downside to it is, does it give you the necessary impetus to push yourself to the next level, or is it just a way of consoling yourself, having recognized your weaknesses and then promising yourself, I'm going to do better, I'm going to move to the next level next year, only to die, for the whole idea to die before you even start. Most people with New Year resolutions in December, by the end of January, everything is gone out of the window. So we covered a lot of grounds about why that is so, why it doesn't work, and at the end last week I said, this week we're going to look at, are there other things you can do? Are there alternatives that you can adopt instead of going for a New Year resolution? So that's what we'll be looking at on today's program. Alternatives to having a New Year resolution. Alternative to having and promising yourself and failing yourself and feeling bad about it and beating yourself up and all of that. The end of everything, the end of a journey, the end of a book, the end of a process, the end of a production, the end of a year or a month, the end of a quarter is usually a great time for reflection. It's usually a good time for reevaluating what has happened, how far we've come. It's a good time to refocus and retune our engines. It's a good time for us to look back, ponder our path, and try to establish what happened and how did we get to where we are. And so for this year, it's no different. Welcome to the end of 2018 as we know it. It is here, and for the next few days, we will have the tail end of it, but I can assure you, by this time next week, there will never be another 2018. We'll be talking about 2019. So the new year, the new year that we're going into, 2019, just like every other new year, there was a time when 2018 was the new year we're going into. But the new year is usually a time of inspiration. It's a time to renew our sense of purpose. It's a time to make new determination and to raise new hopes and set new standards for ourselves. It's a time for us to put our past behind us as we look brightly and expectantly into the new year coming and the adventures that will bring. The new year is a time for us to re-examine our lives. It's a time for us to figure out what are some of the changes that we would like to make. What are some of the differences or some of the new ideas or some of the new concepts or some of the new grounds we would like to break? These are some of the things that we ponder over as the new year comes into focus. It is a good time for us to use our previous year's experience, previous year's reflection, previous year's references to now map a route to where we want this new year to end. It unless you know where you are starting from, where you are going, it could become fuzzy along the way. So the previous year is a good point of reference for us to say, okay, this is where we are right now at the end of 2018, but as we go into 2019, this is the path I want to take, this is the way I want to go. And so typically, as the old year comes to an end, like 2018 is doing in few days, we start to look into what the next year will have in stock for us. And so, in an attempt to prepare for the next year or the new year, or in an attempt to appear to be preparing for the new year, a lot of us we adopt what is called New Year resolutions. New Year resolutions, like we said last week, a resolution is it's a decision, it's a choice, it's a promise that you make about what you're going to do or what you are not going to do. So when we make New Year resolutions, we're saying, for this new year coming, I am going to do this, and that. For this new year coming, I am not going to do this, I'm not going to do this, and not going to do that. So New Year resolutions are good because we use them to plan or prepare ourselves for the year coming. The only challenge with New Year resolutions is the promises that we make to ourselves. And more often than not, we fail to keep those promises. We defect in fulfilling the promises that we've made to ourselves, and that can be very self-demoralizing. I said something last week. I said, you are the most trusted person that you know. I am the most trusted person that I know. And if that is the case, when I make a promise to myself, when you make a promise to yourself, you expect to fulfill that promise. I expect to deliver on the promises I've made to myself. So when we fail, for whatever reason, to deliver that promise or those promises, especially the ones we make to ourselves, it can be very demoralizing. It can be very challenging. It puts a lot of people down. You feel the weight, the guilt, and the self-shame of how can you not be truthful with yourself? How can you come thus far and fail yourself? So when the new year rolls in, New Year resolutions is usually the option that we all fall back to, because we say to ourselves, I am making a determination to change something about myself and about my life. I am making a conscious decision that something is going to be different in my life in this new year that we're going into compared to the way my life has been up to the present time, which is the end of the old year finishing. So what do? Usually, like I said last week, about 60 or 70% of New Year resolutions to do with health. Is to do with health, about 20% to do with finances. So we make resolutions such as you go and enroll at the gym next to your house or nearest to your house. You commit to working out every day, maybe 3 days a week. You commit to losing weight. You commit to changing, to build stamina, to build muscles and become Mr. Muscle. For some of us who have one lump instead of 6 packs, we want to reduce the one lump into 6 packs. And the people with 6 packs, they want to enhance it and make it more defined and all of that. So you sign up at the neighborhood gym. Or you think, well, I've been very self-centered lately. Maybe it's time for me to do something for somebody else. So what do? You sign up to become a volunteer at a local food bank in your neighborhood. Maybe somebody had mentioned during the course of the year that is finishing that you spend too much time on your phone, on your gadgets, on electronics and all of that. So you said, well, for this new year, I am going to have a detox of electronics. So you make a promise to yourself that you are going to cut down on the hours or the time that you spend on your phone, on your tablet, on the computer, and all of that. Or maybe you think, well, you know, if I'm going to live long and I intend to live long, I need to watch what I'm putting into my body. So I need to eat a bit more healthy. I need to cut away a lot of the junk foods that I eat. So you decide from now on, I'm going to be, for my lunch pack, I'm going to do home cooking. I'm going to buy my ingredients from the local organic grocery shop and then do my cooking and steam my vegetables and eat them the way they should be. And so we make all these promises to ourselves. We say, I'm going to cut back on how much I'm spending on takeaway so I can save some money. I'm going to increase the amount I'm putting away into my savings account or into my 401 account so that by the end of the year I have a better savings portfolio. And so we make all these promises to ourselves. And after making those promises, there's a feeling of determination. There's a feeling of pride. There's a feeling of, I've got it all together, that comes upon you because you genuinely, in most cases, want to do those things. You genuinely, in most cases, want to achieve those goals that you've set for yourself. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, by the end of January, you realize that your visit to the gym has reduced from 3 times a week to 2 times a week. You realize that the local food bank are now having to call you twice a day to remind you that it's your duty tonight to serve at the local food bank. You suddenly realize that the time you were supposed to cut down on your gadgets is now even going up higher. And so a lot of the promises that you make yourself by end of January, early February, you realize they are all falling on the wayside. You realize that even though you've started cooking from home, and then you're now saying to yourself, well, I'm spending a lot of time in the kitchen. It'd be easier and quicker to just go down the road to the nearby burger joint and get myself a double Whopper Whammy or something like that. So before you know it, all those promises, they start to fall aside. And while you are dealing with that, while you are trying to pull that together, then life will happen. Life happens to all of us. What do I mean by that? Things around you start to change. Things around you start to shake and change and move in different directions. And before you know it, all the beautiful plans and the programs and the resolutions and the agenda and this and that you made to keep, they all just fly out of the window as if they were never there. Maybe suddenly your organization has been pursuing this new account for some time, and by the middle of January, the MD announced to the whole employee that we've won that account, therefore your workload is going to increase tremendously. So the time you think you will have every evening to go to the gym is completely gone. Or maybe your wife just giving birth to a set of twins. That's a life-changing experience. Or maybe your best friend, your spouse, your child, maybe you yourself just been diagnosed with a health issue. And that immediately changes everything that you're thinking, that you plan, that you hope for, that you wish for, that you would like to do. Life happens. Now, there is nothing you can do to stop life happening. The question is, when life happens, what will happen to your resolutions? Because each of these situations that I'm using as an example, for instance, they are all life-changing experiences. Each one of them is enough to cause a whole turnaround in your life. But what do you do when 2, 3, maybe all of them arrive at your doorstep at the same time? And before you know it, you are gasping for air. You are like the drowning man that can do with just 1 ounce of oxygen to just go down your lungs. And while you are doing that, I can assure you, going to the gym will be the last thing on your mind. Visiting the food bank will not even come anywhere on your radar. And suddenly, all those plans are out and they're gone. Then you wake up one morning, you realize you haven't been to the gym for 3 days. Suddenly, your middle kingdom is growing because now you realize you feed permanently on that joint, fast food joint every afternoon. And everything is not working. And then it hits you like a ton of bricks. That you have failed yourself again. That the promises that you made to yourself at the beginning of the year, you have failed in even meeting one of them. You look at your list of New Year resolutions and they are looking at you straight in the eye and say, you can't do this to us. We had a promise. You made a promise. You made a commitment. And before you know it, your life situations, the issues in your life have no room. You don't have a room to accommodate any New Year resolution. And so you stop altogether. I know I'm painting a very dark picture. But the truth of the matter is, if you will be truthful to yourself, like I have been truthful to myself when I was preparing for this program, what I have just enumerated, this story I've just told you, there are a lot of you out there that can agree with me that you've been reading my diary, because you can relate to most of the things that I'm talking about. And so that will leave you feeling sad and guilty with yourself for not being able to keep up with your new Year resolution and the new plans that you've made to yourself. Because the promise was made by you to yourself. And so when you fail, when you disappoint, when you drop the ball, it cuts you to the deep. So what can you do to stop this circuit of making promises and breaking them, and making promises and breaking them, and disappointing yourself and feeling guilty about yourself with yourself every year? What are there alternatives? Are there other things you can do when the year is coming to an end and when the new year is coming in that can help you still achieve almost exactly the same thing without the weight of guilt, without the weight of disappointment, without the sadness that you feel every time you fail to deliver on your New Year resolution? And the good news is, yes, there are alternatives. There are other things that you can do that will still give you almost, if not more, returns on your investment, as it were, than the New Year resolution. You see, most of us, we go down the route of this New Year resolution just to be like the Joneses. But the truth is, the Joneses are tired. They are tired of pretending. So if you are still trying to be like them, guess what? If it didn't work for them, it's not going to work for you. So we need to try and make positive changes, which is great, in different areas of our lives, which is wonderful. But it doesn't have to be via the vehicle of New Year resolutions. There are alternatives. There are alternatives. And these alternatives, they will leave you even feeling more satisfied, more happy. Because, number one, they are achievable. Number two, they don't put the burden and the guilt of New Year resolutions on you. If you are ready, let's look at some of these alternatives. The first one is you must schedule a periodic retreat. Schedule a periodic retreat. Some people call it solitude. Schedule a time. You see, the most important person in your life is not your spouse, it's not your children, it's not your parents, it's not your boss, it's not your anything. The most important person in your life is you. Now, I know some of you will think, oh, Tunde, slow down. That's very selfish. And let me tell you something. One of the best things that you can do to yourself and for yourself every now and again is to be selfish. Is to think about yourself. Is to consider yourself. Is to pay attention to yourself. Is to give yourself TLC, tender loving care. Because guess what? There are not many people out there who are trading it, who are willing to part with theirs. So you need to focus every now and again on you. You need to think about yourself. You need to consider your own situation. You need to take on board what is my part? What about me in all of this? You see, it's very easy for us to get caught up in all the schedule of the day, the running about, the delivering of this, the making of that, of this obligation, that responsibilities. It is easy for us to get caught up in that rat race, as it were. Putting out this fire here, starting another fire there, putting this water down, and all of that can occupy your life and my life. To the point that balancing your work and life situation, it's completely out of the window. But when you schedule a periodic retreat, maybe a monthly, maybe a quarterly, maybe every other month, but schedule a time when it's just your time. What ladies call me time. Schedule that. Plan it. Balance your work, your family, your friends, and all your other commitments with the time that you spend on yourself. Because it is easy for you to be running after your work, your wife, your children, your church, your this, your that, to the point where you are completely lost in the picture. When you are completely lost in the picture. I remember at the beginning of this platform, because the reason it's called Become a Better Man was because we started it as a platform for men until the women took over. Thank God for them. But one of the things we looked at the very inception of this platform was the need for men to have this time of me time. You can become too focused on, oh, I need to pay this bill. I need to send the children to school. I need to be there for my wife. I need to go to work. And you need to do all. And before you know it, you spread too thin. You become ineffective in all of them. And boom, you break. The danger is when you break down, all those things will suffer because you fail to take care of yourself. If you don't find time for self-care, if you don't find time, if you don't schedule time, if you don't plan time to look after yourself, you are running a high risk of burnout. I remember we did a program on burnout a long time ago. You are running a high risk of being burnt out. And when you're burnt out, it will slowly wear you out. It will slowly wear you down. It will slowly evaporate you to the point that you become useless to yourself and become a burden to the people around you. So what do? Every few months, every few weeks, maybe every quarter, depending on how you plan your life, take a one-day retreat. Take a weekend off where you just go and look after yourself. It doesn't mean you have to go to the beach and lie down by the sun. If that's what works for you, hallelujah. But some of them, maybe you just need to go and sit down, somewhere where there is no telephone reception, no internet, no communication, and just you and yourself. Go to somewhere where your focus is not on anything else but you. Find somewhere that you can go that will give you minimal distraction. So your mind is not wandering and rambling and jumping from one tree to another. No, go to somewhere where you can touch yourself again, where you can be in touch with yourself. I remember when we were in when we used to live in Yorkshire. Oh, great place. There is this area of Yorkshire in the North Yorkshire called the Lake District. One of the best places on earth that God made. The Lake District. There are places there when you go there, you think you are standing at the feet of the throne room of God itself. Wonderful, breathtaking. If you don't know, if you think there is no God, go to the Lake District and see the handiwork of God in reality. Escape into places like that. Escape into mountainous area. I remember before we got married, my wife used to go camping in Scotland, in the height of the mountains where it's just you and the sky looking at each other. Escape to all these places, and when you're going, take a journal, take a plain journal with you, or maybe take a good book that you can spend time in reading, growing, developing, nothing else but your inner self. And so as you are in that place, write down things, not the things that you want to do, not the things that you are struggling with, not the things that you are planning. No, write down things that you love about yourself. You see, I told you this is about you being selfish, being you, looking after you. Write down things that you love about being you. Or maybe I know some of you think, oh, that's for ladies. No, this next one is for everybody. It's not just for ladies. Spend an entire day at a spa. Be pampered. Be looked after. Let somebody just squeeze those pressure, those stress off your neck with some massaging oil, and just work on you and press you and help you get rid of those stress. Go for a spa, a whole day. Well, I don't know what I'll be doing for the whole day. I'll tell you. Start in the morning. Take some morning treatments. Maybe some herbal tea in the morning. Do some light workout. Then go for a wonderful breakfast, and then lie on that table and let somebody jump all over you and press all the stress off your neck. In the afternoon, just wander about, just walk about, just explore the area, just lose yourself in the atmosphere. And then in the evening, sit down in front of the moon or the fire and just think about your life. Remember your name. Let call yourself the name that only you know about you. Speak to yourself. Stand in front of the mirror and speak life into yourself. What else can you do? Spend a whole day just communing with God in prayer. I can't spend the whole day praying. I didn't ask you to kneel down, close your eyes and fold your arms. I'm saying commune with God. Just talk to Him as you do whatever you do. As you lie down, you walk down the beach. Maybe you are resting, maybe you are eating, whatever. Just talk to God in your heart. And every now and again, just speak out to yourself and hear yourself, what you are saying and how you are saying to God. And and give yourself time to hear God talking back to you. Because a lot of us, when we pray, we just go and give God what's it called? A narration of what's been happening. And then this, and then that, and then this, and then this. In Jesus' name, amen. And before God could say anything, you're gone. No. Relax. Just keep calm. Talk to God. Wait for him. He will speak back to you. Maybe you are not, maybe you're saying, well, today, I'm not a religious person. God bless you. Go and do some meditation or yoga or whatever you do. Something that will reconnect you to yourself. Your spirit, soul, and body will come back into alignment with your person. Go and play golf. Go fishing. Well, I don't know how to play golf. You don't need to know. Just go there, pay the 20 pounds or whatever. Just hit the ball for as long as you can until it gets into the hole. But whatever you do, spend time with yourself on yourself. Go fishing. Go and just sit down and wait for the fish to bite. And then you reel it in. You reel it in. You reel it in. And see the excitement and the joy that will fill you just by doing that. Go to somewhere like Center Park. Just hire a bicycle. And just ride. And continue riding and continue going and continue going. Until the day is almost dark and you have to use the headlight to come back. But do something about yourself for yourself. I tell you, there is not enough New Year resolutions in the world that can equate the experience that you will get back by scheduling a periodic retreat where you treat yourself, where you talk to yourself, where you encounter yourself, where you tell yourself the good things about yourself. I tell you, you will be more useful to the whole world after you've done that. Because unless you like yourself, the Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, what chance have we got? But what this will do is, it will help you reconnect to yourself, with yourself. And now, out of the abundance of that experience, the rest of us can benefit from it. In order for this to work, though, you have to deliberately make a schedule plan in your diary that this is what I'm going to do at this time, in this period, and this period. Because if you don't plan it ahead, if you don't schedule it in your program, it will just be another item on your to-do list that never get done. So, instead of New Year resolution, schedule a periodic retreat. Is this helping anybody by chance? Is this helping anybody? Number 2, rather than going for a New Year resolution, why don't you identify who your people are? Identify your own people. Every one of us, we are and we need a kinsman redeemer. Somebody who is your bone of bone and flesh of flesh. Instead of committing to, I'm going to do this new thing, I'm going to do that new thing. No. Identify who your people are. Commit to the people that you want to spend time with this year. Don't just throw yourself out to anybody and everybody. No. Be deliberate. Life is too precious, ladies and gentlemen, and life is too short to spend it with people who only tolerate you rather than the people that celebrate you. Identify those people in your life that are your people, that people that just touch you. You feel them somewhere. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, people who challenge you to greatness, people who support your dream, who help you to become all that you want to become. Make a list. Sit down. Maybe during your retreat, sit down and make a list of who are these people. These 5 or 10 people, who are they in your life? Make a list of everyone in your life who is good for you, who brings out the best in you, who makes you laugh, who leaves you in a good mood, who provokes you to become a better you. Then narrow the list down to, of this lot of people, who are the most important 5 or 10? Oh, that means you're going to cut some people away. Yeah. Remember what we said? Hang out with people that celebrate you, not the people that tolerate you. Identify the most important 5 or 10 people from your list. Once you have identified them, schedule a regular contact point, a point of connection between you and them that is consistent and regular, so that most of your time you are around some of these people. Most of the time, these people are around you. Plan it for the whole year. Okay, every 3rd Sunday, we will have lunch with the Adeboales. Every 2nd Saturday, I am playing golf with Peter and Nick. Every 3rd Wednesday, myself and my friend Rachel, if you are a lady, or we are going to go to that spa and just have our pedicure and manicure and our hair and our whatever you do. But identify who are these people. Not just people to hang out with. Remember what we said. Look for people that will help you become your better self. For instance, my mom, there are 8 children from my mom, and one has gone home to be with the Lord, so we have 7 left. But every 3rd Saturday of the month, we all meet together in somebody's house for a night vigil where we pray, we sing, we dance, and then we sit down and talk one with another. At that time, there is nothing like no-go area. There is nothing like seniority and I'm older than you and you're a lady. No, nothing. Everything is on the table. And we talk one another. We challenge one another. We wrestle with one another. We help one another in whatever area they need help with. Every month. Who is that person in your life that are so important? Not because of what they bring, but because of who they are in your life. Identify them and schedule that twice a week we're going to go jogging. Come rain, come shine, come snow, come thunderstorm. Myself and Tokwe were going jogging. Every last weekend of the 3rd month, the whole family were going camping. Come on, guys. There's so many things that you can do once you identify these people. And guess what? By identifying them, you will find out that most of the things you want to do are the things they want to do. So you don't need to twist anybody and put anybody to the carpet. You will come into alignment like gloves and a hand. Explore different parts of your city. There are some people, since you've been in the village or town where you live, you don't know beyond your house, the bus that will take you to work, and the marketplace and the supermarket, and that is your triangular journey. Meanwhile, there is the whole city It's a whole village. There's a whole neighborhood that you've never seen, you don't even know, you never heard of. And you've been living in that same village for the past 15 years. What are you doing? Go explore. Take one of your bodies with you. Let's just go down the street. Let's see what is down here. You'll be amazed some of the things that you will find. And as you're doing that, you are enriching your life. You are enriching the lives of these people around you. You are becoming a better person. You are growing and developing. But it's not costing you anything. It's not putting any pressure on you like a New Year resolution will do. Is this helping anybody out there? Because remember, this platform is called Become a Better Man. Become a better you. And some of the things that we have dealt with this year, I was looking back. Like I said last week, we're going to run through some of the topics that we've covered this year. I was amazed some of the things we've done this year. Another thing you can do, rather than choking yourself with New Year resolution, another thing you can do to better yourself is to process the past year. Process the past year. While you are concentrating on the year coming in, you cannot forget what this year going out has been and done for you. Because without this year that is going out, you won't even be in a position where you're looking into the year coming in. So don't disregard the experiences and the things that you've dealt with, you've handled, the challenges, the achievements, whatever. Process them. Spend some time processing all the things that's happened to you this year. For instance, in 2018, if you are to list just write out some of the things that has happened to you this year, you'll be amazed how much has happened this year. Write them down. The good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between. Just write it down. While you're doing that, be careful that you don't start pointing fingers and apportioning blame or passing judgment on things. So if only that didn't happen, if only Peter had done what he was meant to do. No, that's not the essence. That's not the point. Just write it down. Write it down and respect the part that issue played in your life in this year that has brought you to where you are. Every encounter is a blessing. Every encounter in life is a blessing. Some are blessings by their coming. Some are blessings by their going. So you can't disregard either of them. So once you have processed that, then create space for reflection. Create space to reflect, to ponder, to journal, to read through your journal for the year. Have dinner with you. Now, this is a good one, especially for the married couples. This is good. Have dinner with your spouse or with your friend and process the year that has just finished in 4 months chunks. So January, February, March, April. You need to discuss that, talk about that while you're having your appetizer. May, June, July, August. You talk about that while you're having your main course. September, October, November, December. Talk about that while dessert is being consumed. And you'll be amazed how much you can cram, how much you can get out of a year over a meal or a dinner. Meditate. Sit back and meditate. Try and visualize where the year started from What happened in January, February, in March, in April, in May? Try and travel in time, as it were, back to the beginning of the year and retrace your track back to where you are right now and see how much enrichment that will add to your life compared to having a New Year resolution. So quickly we said, schedule a periodic retreat or solitude. Identify your people, the people you will spend time to. Number 3, process the previous year. Go through this year that has just finished and try and understand and remember what it's meant to you. Number 4, give yourself the year off. Give yourself the year off. What do I mean by that? There is nothing wrong with wanting to grow and improve different aspects of your life. In fact, if you don't do that, there's something wrong. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you live your life and just abandon it. No. You still need to improve. You still need to think. You need to process. You need to look at ways by which you can improve and grow. But before you embark on that journey of discovery, before you start thinking about the weaknesses in your life, the shortfalls in your being, the places where you made the wrong turning and you took the wrong decision and you associated with the wrong crowd, before you go into all of that, start this process by, first of all, this is crucial, start this process by, first of all, accepting where you are in the here and now. I don't like where I am. I'm not happy with where I am. I can be better. I should be in a better position. All those are great, but right now, this is where you are. Accept it. Own it. Receive it. Embrace it. Treasure it. Because unless you accept the present condition, you have no foundation to build upon. And anything that you build without a solid foundation is going to come crashing down. So instead of trying to change everything about yourself, step back, express gratitude. Express gratitude by finding some comfort in who you are right here, right now. Because whatever issue you are dealing with in your life, there are some people that are praying to be where you are right now. There are some people that will give anything and everything to be in the exact position, place, and situation that you are contending with right now. So be grateful. Because if you're constantly running at, I need to change, I need to change, I need to change, you will run out of steam. You get exhausted, you get discouraged because you are constantly running. But instead of that, just sit back and imagine a life where you just accept yourself. You just love yourself so much you just want to have a tango dance with yourself. Accept yourself. Accept yourself. Accept where you are. Accept yourself. How do you do that? Make a list of the things about yourself that you are proud of. Well, Tunde, if only you know me, I'm not proud of anything. Who says that? That's not true. Think of the things you've achieved in life. Oh, well, if only you know me, I've not really achieved anything. Are you joking me? You've not achieved anything. For the past 1 month, you've been going to the same work and they haven't told you never to come back again because you're not good. And you say you haven't achieved anything. Do you know how many people been to work and after 2 days, they said, with all your qualifications and experience, we don't want you. You're not fit here. And you say you haven't achieved anything. Do you know how many people started primary school with you, never finished, talk less of going to to secondary school or college or university. You say you have not achieved anything. Well, I only have a first degree. Do you know how many people will sacrifice their right eye just to have a first degree? And you say you haven't achieved anything. Make a list of the things about yourself that you are proud of. Do you know how many of your friends, your colleagues, your contacts, even your family that are not married, those that are married with no children, and you said you haven't achieved anything? You've been married 20 years and you have three children, and you say you haven't achieved anything. Count your blessings and name them one by one and see how good God has been to you. So make a list of the things about yourself that you are proud of. Once you've made that list, then send a letter, write a letter, put it in the post, addressed to yourself. Let it come through the mailman to you, expressing that you are worthy of love, that you are worthy of being appreciated, that you are accepted by yourself. Tell yourself, I'm good enough. Write a whole page of anything, just as long as the phrase "I am good enough" is everywhere. Tell yourself how good enough you are. Because the world we live in is very big in reminding us how unworthy we are, how not good enough we are, how bad we are. So every now and again, you got to tell yourself, boy, you are good, and I say so myself. Then you will see what naturally comes back, what comes about, how you feel, the warmth that fills you up from the inside. And I tell you, your life will be so changed that you'll be surprised. No New Year resolution will give you that. Make a gratitude list. Make a gratitude list. When the year is coming to an end like this, the first thing we start doing is we start looking at the things that didn't work, the things that failed, the things that messed up, the areas that we were disappointed, and the people that we fell out with, and this, and we concentrate and we're consumed by the negativity of the year that's just rolling out. And it is that feeling of not good enough, that feeling of not measuring up, that feeling of weakness, that is the driving force behind New Year resolutions. I am not against self-examination. What I'm saying is, by all means, examine yourself. Don't beat yourself up. The world is already doing a lot of that. New Year resolution, they have a tendency to be very depressing because they are constantly focusing your attention on the areas of your life where there are weaknesses. The desire, the willingness, the heart cry of many people to improve is it's a logical thing to do. You want to be better, that's great. But New Year resolutions, they only remind you of your weaknesses, of your failures, of your limitations, of your shortcomings, rather than pointing you at your greatness. You know, every human being will grow and develop in an environment of support and encouragement than in an environment of condemnation and shame. It's natural. So why will you do that to yourself? Remind yourself how terrible you are, how bad you are, how unworthy you are, how unqualified you are. That's what New Year resolution does. One of the most effective and outstanding way or alternative to New Year resolution is for you to make a gratitude list. Instead of focusing on the negativities in your life, highlight all the positive aspects of your life. Be thankful, be grateful, be encouraged, be lifted up by the great things in your life. Remember the good old days of your life and use that to push you that if I can achieve that, if I can hold down a job for 2 months, I'm sure I can get my next degree. I'm sure I can propose to that lady that I've been looking at for the past 3 years. I'm sure I can attempt to go to the next interview. I'm sure I can attempt to start that new business, whatever it is. But if all you see is, oh, I failed in that area, oh, I'm not good in this area, oh, I need to improve, the potency to try something new will be dead. Be more grateful. On your gratitude list, be more grateful for your family, your friends, because you have a stable job, you have good health, you are living in a safe neighborhood, you have a place where you meet others, you have something that tells you that God loves you. You know in your knower. Be grateful. Instead of seeing yourself as something broken that needs fixing, which is what New Year resolution will do to you. New Year resolution will show you this angle is broken, you need to go and fix that. This place is leaking, you need to go and patch it. Instead of focusing on the broken part of you that needs fixing. When you make a gratitude list, you begin to think of yourself as a wonderful human being with great potentials to improve. And you by nature extend that same feeling, that same view, and that same thought to others, rather than looking for their mistakes and their shortcomings. Finally, instead of making a New Year resolution that's going to beat you up your head and slap you over the head down and make you feel guilty about yourself, commit to someone else. Commit yourself to someone else. Commit yourself or commit something about you to other people outside of yourself. Because the default setting of New Year resolution is to focus on yourself, is to think of yourself, is to fix yourself. No. Why don't you turn it around? Why don't you change that focus? Why don't you turn it upside down? Instead of looking at yourself, devote that energy, commit that time, extend that hand of the need to improve towards helping somebody else. You want to know how good you are? Start helping somebody else. I wrote a book about 2 years ago. It's called Elisha Project, The Privilege of Serving Leaders. For those who know me in person, who are my friends and you've known me for at least some years, you will know. If there's anything that I thrive on, if there's anything that gets my engine roaring and my energy pumping, it's the opportunity to serve other people. The opportunity to be there for somebody else. The opportunity to lend a helping hand to somebody. Not because I want something back from it, but that's just my nature. to help somebody. And I can tell you, some of the greatest moments, some of the greatest memories of my life has been those times when I was there just at the nick of time, when I was able to be just the person that would lift that person, just the right word at the right time for the right person, when I've had the privilege to put my agenda on the ground. I've almost abandoned my own program, but just to make sure this person's program is successful, this person's agenda is successful, this person's goal is fulfilled. Oh, you can't pay me enough to do it. In fact, I'll pay you just to serve you. So rather than you focusing on yourself, helping me, I need to, no. Commit that energy to helping somebody. You know, it takes more courage, energy, maturity. It takes more guts to help somebody else rather than doing it for yourself. Even Jesus said, there is no greater love than this, than for a man to lay down his life for his friend. You want to improve, you want to increase, you want to grow, you want to become better in 2019, start helping somebody else. Some of the purest, undiluted joy, happiness, peace that you will experience in life will come from you helping somebody else. If you are struggling with experiencing a real tangible change in your life, rather than flogging the dead horse of trying to improve yourself, no. That's the time for you to say, okay, let me go and do it for this person. Let me go and help this person. Let me lend a helping hand here. Let me offer my services here for free. Let me support this agenda, this program. Let me give this all that I have got. Because in the course of you doing it, you will find yourself. You will find your purpose. You will find your lane. You will become everything that you are destined to become. Pour yourself into somebody else. Donate regularly to a cause that you passionately believe in. Become a mentor to a young boy or a young girl, or adopt a family that you can just be there for. I went to see a friend yesterday. When I first met this family, we met in church. Hello, how are you? And the mother came to me and he said, this my son just needs somebody like you in his life. Somebody who can talk to him, look him in the eyes and tell him things. Because everything else, it's not working for him. I said, fine, I'll give you my best shot. Today, we are best of friends because of that one act. And that young man is going places. I don't care what he's going through now. I don't care where he is now. That young man is destined for the greatest of height. And I can, if I'm a betting man, I'll bet my dollar on it. That young man is going places. When you spend time helping others and improving their well-being, you'll be amazed, you'll be surprised, you'll be shocked how much of your own principles, of your own stamina, of your own growth and development will be strengthened, and how much your outlook in life will improve if you can just pour yourself into helping somebody else. Ladies and gentlemen, 2018 is rounding up. 2019 is knocking on our doors. And the usual tradition is for us to now start making New Year resolutions. Great as they are, I think I have been able to point out to you that New Year resolutions are good, but there's a better alternative. And if you will embrace these better alternatives, if you will lay hold of these things that we've talked about tonight, and if you will run with them, just give it a shot. For this 2019, put aside your New Year resolution. For this 1 year alone, suspend your New Year resolutions and try these alternatives that we've talked about. And then let's meet halfway through the year and let's see where you are, how you are, and how you're feeling compared to where you could have been if you had followed your New Year resolutions. In closing, I said last week that I'm going to run through some of the topics that we've covered this year. Because sometimes, again, this is another way of reflecting. Let's look back at what we have seen, the areas that we've covered this year, 2018, on this platform, Become a Better Man. Quickly. In January, we concluded the program that we're doing on gratitude. In February, we looked at self-motivation and personal charisma. In March, we looked at work-life balance, friendship, and the issue on perfectionism. That was a great program. In April, we stepped into another wonderful program when we looked at sabotaging behaviors, the things that we do that are handicapping and sabotaging our own progress and our own lives. In May, we looked at effective communication, and we also looked at the issue of rejection. In June, we looked at personal development, teamwork, kindness, and then we did a special program towards the end of June called Stop the Separation Appeal. This was when the U.S. government were separating kids from their parents at the border for coming into the U.S. So we did a special, I think it was about 30 or 40 minutes program talking about the issues of migrants from different places into America and the cruelty that the government was melting out to them. So we did that, Stop the Separation Appeal. And thank you for all those who supported the appeal, who contributed and donated to the appeal. We're very grateful. Then in July, we looked at kindness, mental strength, and personal integrity. August, we looked at truth hurts, but they're good for you. The truth hurts, but they're good for you. Then we looked at the importance of grit, becoming an early riser, and be optimistic. In September, we looked at why do we work? Then we look at credibility. In October, we continued on credibility. Then we looked at developmental journey of life. That was another great program. Then we round up October by looking at choices. In November, we looked at reclaiming your power. We talked about become a better man, sleep. We looked at the importance of good sleep and how to sleep. Then we concluded November with one of the highlights of this year as far as programs are concerned, when we looked at don't give up. Don't give up. And I remember fondly the last two programs on that topic, on don't give up. I had the privilege of airing those two programs from Nigeria, which was great. Had a great time in Nigeria. And so for this month, we've looked at Dream, and we're finishing this month and this year by looking at New Year resolutions. So as you can see, we've really covered a lot of ground in 2018. And so I want to use this opportunity, this avenue, to thank each and every one of you. You have kept me on my toes. You've given me reason to come back week after week after week after week. You have forced me to grow and develop and increase and improve and become what I am right now. I couldn't have done it without your help, without your support, without your belief on this platform. I wouldn't be sitting here. Can you believe that the program today is number 99 since we started this platform? This is program number 99 since this platform started in February last year. So it's been a great journey, and I just want to say thank you. And I hope and I want to believe that since the beginning, wherever we were when you joined this platform, something that has been said since the beginning has added some values to you, has given you reason to consider things, has caused you to change things and become a better person. Because yes, we have come to the end of 2018. 2019 is loaded. 2019 is pregnant. 2019 can't wait to burst out, because there are greater areas in our lives that we're going to be looking at, that we're going to cover, because there's always room for improvement in our lives. It has been an honor to host and anchor this platform. It's been a great joy of mine to see so many of you being part of it. And all I can say is, thank you. I am most grateful. Thank you. So until we meet next year, because obviously this is our last one for this year, so when next we'll meet, it will be next year in 2019. Let me remind you, giving up is not an option. Caving in is not even an option. Choking out is not your portion. We are not quitters. We are winners. We are destined for greatness. And I am so passionately convinced that we're closer than we were when we started. So don't give up now. Don't stop now. Don't throw in the towel now. Because there's a place that's been prepared with your name on it. And we ain't stopping until we arrive at our spacious, wealthy, better place. When everyone that will see us, every eyes that will see us, they will have no choice. They will have no choice but to say, surely these are better men and better women. I'll see you again next week, next year. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of the year and Happy New Year in advance. This is Tunde Disu saying, see you later. Bye-bye. God bless you.